Greetings, my name is Sahil, and today I will be debriefing about my supermarket tour that I did for the course SOC 808. Personally, by living in downtown Toronto, I'm surrounded with various supermarkets around my vicinity. However, one supermarket that I visit on a regular basis is Loblaws, located at 60 Carlton Street. Loblaws has in excess of 1,000 stores and an almost 30% grocery market share in Canada, and therefore it dominates the grocery landscape in the country. Apart from being walking distance away from my house, I believe that Loblaws offers much more variety and higher grade items in the stock as compared to its competitors. Personally, I wanted to further analyze what marketing strategies they utilize to attract consumers like myself and what makes them a leader in this competitive market. It was pretty fascinating to observe how Loblaws' marketing strategy begins as soon as the consumer enters the premises. The Loblaws at Carlton Street has two entrances, and this one is generally considered to be the main entrance. As soon as one enters, they are greeted with a beautiful display of flowers and plants. According to the publication called The Supermarket Tour by OPIRG, Peterborough, supermarkets place plants near the entrance so that consumers would make an impulsive buy. There's another entrance located in close proximity, as shown here. And as one enters through here, they straight away come across a Nutella section and a bakery or patisserie section. By strategically positioning these sections, they are designed to activate the consumer's salivary glands and make them much more likely to make impulsive purchases. It was also interesting to observe how the floors of Loblaws use warm colors such as orange and red. This supports the idea that supermarkets utilize warm colors to stimulate hunger. In fact, even the shopping carts, which could be easily located as soon as one enters through both entrances, were also strategically colored orange. Furthermore, the music being played in the store was very mellow, and if I hadn't been doing the following analysis, I wouldn't have even been aware of its presence. This is actually a marketing strategy that is used to control human flow through music. Moreover, Loblaws has a well-loaded reward system known as PC Optimum Points that serves to attract many consumers to be loyal with the supermarket chain. The specific aisle I had chosen to investigate was the produce aisle. The reason for this is that it is generally the largest part of any supermarket, and thereby there would be many aspects that could be explored more deeply. The overall structure and the layout of the produce aisle was very well organized, and there are designating sections where each specific fruit or vegetable was placed. These well-spaced sections were done for a purpose of appearing as smaller shops to consumers, and there have been studies which have shown that people enjoy this specific layout. Furthermore, there were a great variety of produce, and there were clear sections labeled as organic produce. Loblaws even had boards that explained the importance of organic food. The market has done an impeccable job in presenting relevant information to the consumers. They have further taken the initiative to support local products and had a section designated as growers near you. This was even the very first section that a consumer would come across as they walk into the produce aisle. And having a huge board signaling that the produce were grown locally showcases their support to local farmers. Furthermore, packages and the corresponding produce labels had sufficient information in terms of where the produce was from, whether it was imported or local, and whether they were organic or not. I believe that by presenting clear, concise, and sufficient information, it helps the consumers to make an informed decision on what they should buy. A variety of produce gives the consumers many choices, and people generally love to have many options open. Loblaws also uses warm colors such as red, orange, and yellow on sale tags to not only differentiate between the regular priced items, but to attract the consumers. Colors such as red is perceived as hot, strong, and associated with passion. When consumers see tags or labels where these colors are dominating, they pay more attention to them. Loblaws also employed a boutiquing technique where products like salad dressings are placed next to the salad section. This is a strategic placement of the dressings, and consumers are encouraged to impulsively buy them alongside the salad. Moreover, the most notable aspect to notice in the produce aisle was how fresh and vibrant the produce appeared. It was simply aesthetically pleasing. As observed here, the produce is deliberately stacked in terms of color. Green color symbolizes nature, and it is thus mainly used in the vegetables and fruit zones. Moreover, the produce is stacked on crates or tumbled into baskets, which sends the brain a subconscious message that these fruits and vegetables were brought in straight from the field, as opposed to being shipped through industrial containers. It was extremely evident that Loblaws had put in tremendous efforts and dedication to make sure that the produce appeared visually appealing to the naked eye. Every single item appeared shiny, and there were no visible signs of bruising or spoiling. This definitely made me wonder how many of the fruits and vegetables were thrown out or essentially wasted as they didn't meet the desired specifications. By appearing so perfect, it was evident that many of these produce would have automatically been tossed away, even though they were perfectly edible. According to a report released by the Commission for Environmental Cooperation in 2017, Canada is ranked amongst the worst globally in wasting food. Supermarkets like Loblaws want to dominate the market competition, and they believe that their goods have to be visibly perfect in order to attract as many consumers as possible. This attitude and business practices have to change, and even consumers need to play a peripheral role by demanding and purchasing imperfect produce that is perfectly edible. Moreover, the lustrous appearance of fruits and vegetables might have probably been due to the application of pesticides, which not only improve the appearance but also protects the produce from bruising and spoiling. These pesticides are toxic, and there haven't been sufficient laboratory tests conducted to determine if there are potentially any long-term effects due to the exposure to these chemicals on humans. In fact, according to the OPIRG, some of the most contaminated foods are peaches, apples, sweet bell peppers, and strawberries. Many pesticides have been linked to severe health effects such as fertility and reproductive problems, neurological problems, and even brain and lung cancer. They even have an adverse effect on the environment, as pesticides pollute the air, the soil, surface water, and groundwater. As shown earlier, Loblaws does support local produce, and they have a section dedicated to them. However, there are produce that are imported from faraway countries. There were lemons, oranges, and red grapefruits from South Africa, limes, avocados from Mexico, clementines from Spain, certain lemons from Argentina, dried mangoes from the Philippines, potatoes from the US, plantain from Guatemala, bananas from Costa Rica, and even Ecuador. According to the OPIRG, the average North American meal is said to have traveled approximately 2,400 kilometers. This is a rather shocking figure, and is actually not a surprise due to the abundance of cheap fuel that is available today. But the real concern is the massive amount of greenhouse gases that is emitted as a result of the transportation. The greater the distance the food has traveled, the greater the impact on the environment. Hence, a compromise must be found between the monetary cost to the consumer, the impact on developing economies, and the environmental cost of the pollution associated with transporting food over such long distances. Before conducting this personal study, I had never really introspected the severe environmental impacts that the production of produce could have. It was actually fascinating to discover how supermarkets such as Loblaws use pesticides to influence the appearance of the produce in order to attract consumers. In fact, I have been personally guilty of visiting Loblaws on a regular basis because of how fresh the fruits and vegetables appeared. Having lived in Asia for a substantial period of my life, the quality of items in a supermarket has always been the most important factor in determining where I would shop. However, this experience has been an eye-opener in the sense that the more the produce appeared shiny and fresh, the more likely they have been tampered with undesired chemicals.